Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, has arrived in Cairo for talks on a fresh ceasefire in Gaza.
We are now coming to the end of what was the deadliest year in the occupied Palestinian territory.
Meanwhile, efforts to get a United Nations Security Council ceasefire motion are set to resume after Tuesday's vote was delayed. The US says it is working with other members on the text, but it has vetoed previous resolutions. There are reports that Rafah city in southern Gaza has been hit by airstrikes. Aid agencies have voiced anger and frustration over the continued plight of civilians in the enclave.
The delivery of humanitarian aid in the Strip continues to face nearly insurmountable challenges. Amid displacement of an unimaginable scale and active hostilities, the humanitarian response system is on the brink. Limited steps by Israel, including allowing entry of more fuel, food and cooking gas, and opening Kerem Shalom Karem Abu Salem crossing for the entry of humanitarian supplies are positive, but fall short of what is needed to address the human catastrophe on the ground.
Colorado's Supreme Court has ruled that Donald Trump cannot run for president next year in the state, citing a constitutional insurrection clause. The court ruled 4-3 that Mr. Trump was not an eligible candidate because he had engaged in an insurrection over the US Capitol riot nearly 3 years ago. It does not stop Mr. Trump running in the other states, and his campaign says it will appeal to the US Supreme Court. It is the first ever use of a Section 3 of the US Constitution's 14th Amendment to disqualify a presidential candidate. The decision, which has been placed on hold pending appeal until next month, only applies in Colorado. The French Parliament has passed legislation toughening France's immigration policy after months of political wrangling. Health Minister Aurélien Rousseau announced his resignation from President Emmanuel Macron's cabinet the day after both houses of France's Parliament gave their final approval on a toughened immigration bill that reduces welfare payments for foreigners in particular. The amended bill was backed by both President Emmanuel Macron's centrist Renaissance Party and Marine Le Pen's far-right National Rally. The presidential and legislative elections have got underway in the Democratic Republic of Congo. This the scene as millionaire businessman and former governor Moise Katumbi, a strong challenger in the presidential race, cast his vote in Lubumbashi. Voters in the capital Kinshasa and in the eastern city of Goma waited outside polling stations, but delays were reported in several towns due to absent equipment and voter lists. For months, Congo's National Electoral Commission has insisted it would deliver a free and fair vote, but independent observers and critics flagged irregularities they say will jeopardize the legitimacy of the results. About 44 million Congolese are registered to take part in the voting, which also includes regional ballots. The volcano that erupted in southwest Iceland is weakening, that's according to the country's meteorological office, although new vents could open at short notice. The eruption, which took place on the Reykjanes Peninsula, came after weeks of intense earthquakes and tremors. About 4,000 people were evacuated last month from Grindavik, a fishing town threatened by the lava flow. There are no reports of injuries, but there are fears houses may be damaged. And police in Peru have used the holiday spirit to teach children about traffic laws in a fun way. Officers dressed as Santa Claus, the Grinch, elves, Rudolph, and the Mamanuelas, a wordplay in Spanish for Mother Noel, rode their motorcycles and performed in didactic show in Lima. The activity allows kids to play with their friends and learn about road safety. Meanwhile, a Spanish police officer dressed up as Spider-Man visited sick children at a Malaga hospital to cheer them up during the Christmas period. Hanging from the facade of the hospital, Eduardo Balboa interacted with the youngest patients, sending kisses and doing the superhero's iconic web gesture. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel studios in Lagos.